And of course, talking about the coronavirus and sports, you got to talk to your kids about their sports leagues shutting down as well. And we're going to do that right now. Dina and Frank.
Yeah, you know, it's not just professional sport, minor sport also being affected. OMHA canceling all playoffs. That means my son not playing hockey right now. And lacrosse. How do we talk to our kids?
Yeah, exactly. Right now, child and youth therapist Tanya De Silva joins us on the ways us parents, you parents, can talk to the kids, because obviously there must be so much being said and heard in the house, in the schoolyard, and now they're prepping after today for 3 weeks March break. So good morning. Good to see you, Tanya.
Nice to see you guys.
First thing, you have a story, a personal one.
Well, yeah, Gavin called me last night, and he's away right now on vacation, and my son said to me, he's like, Dad, I'm hearing all these things about COVID. You know, school's being canceled, hockey's being canceled. Should I be concerned? What as parents, what information do we give them, and how much is too much information?
So what we always say is you want to take their lead, because sometimes, especially when we're scared, we start oversharing, and then you give them information that they don't need or is going to cause them to worry even more. So asking him, you know, what is it that you're hearing? What are you worried about? And following his lead, and then helping him kind of put it all together. And then if there's things that we don't know, because it is always changing, essentially opening it up and being like, you know what, I don't really know either, let's look into that together. So that way it honestly opens up this like space for more of a back and forth conversation and a safe space to discuss it, versus us giving everything's going to be fine, you're going to be okay, don't worry about it. That's shutting everything down. We want to have that back and forth conversation.
And then their imaginations go to the worst places, right? Does it depend on the age group? Do you treat it differently?
Yeah, and I think everything has to be age appropriate. So for our younger kids, we obviously kind of limit the information, and they're more worried about like, how are grandma and grandpa going to be? Am I ever going to go back to school? Am I ever going to go back to sports? So their worries are a little different. For older kids, they're actually probably worried about their health and how that's going to look, if they're running out of food. So they all have kind of different worries. So that's why you want to take their lead. But essentially, it's keeping it very age appropriate and focusing on the bigger issue, because it's more about us controlling the spread versus the actual effect of the virus. It's like a flu. We're doing the same kind of precautions that we do with a normal flu. You're washing your hands, you're staying home if you're sick, you're not touching babies. So relating it back to what feels familiar to them is always helpful.
It's interesting. My 13-year-old was concerned. He's like, Dad, did you go buy toilet paper? Did you go get some supplies? My 10-year-old was really happy that school is extended. So it depends on the kid, and it depends on their age as well.
Yeah, it could vary from sibling to sibling.
Oh, it does.
So you say you have to mitigate the fear. How do you allay those fears if your child, if it's really bothering them, maybe they're having trouble sleeping? Like, what are some of those signs that perhaps this is really wreaking havoc on them mentally?
It's typically similar to anxiety, where they're having trouble sleeping, they're starting to feel really panicked. Some of them are actually going into panic attacks. Like, we work with kids who have anxiety all the time, so for us, we're seeing a shift where our average, you know, our normal cases where we're talking about anxiety, now they're shifting to only talking about the virus, right? A lot of our kids that didn't have anxiety, now they're coming to us because it's starting to become a worry. So I always tell parents, if it's something, because especially for us, even as adults, we're trying to manage our own worries, come and see a professional. Let's do a family session. We can do a Skype session if that's easier, if you're scared of coming in, but essentially getting a professional to help support, but also just relaying back why it's being done. So it's more so we don't really have a vaccine for it, so we're more worried again about the spread, and it's not about the effects, it's about how is our system going to be able to sustain treating everybody that has the symptoms. So I find like with a lot of our kids, once we say that to them, they're like, oh, so it's not about what this is going to do to me, it's about the stress it's going to put on my mom who's a nurse, or working overtime. We kind of use that relation where it's, if you work overtime, you're tired, you're more stressed. We don't want to do that to the health system. And they're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm positioning like we're trying to be proactive right now. We're trying to slow this down, and this is a good thing. Everything that you're seeing right now is a good thing, and then also it's a history and time. You're going to remember this, and there's going to be some great moments that we share.
Exactly.
Great tips. Thank you so much. And to wash those hands for 20 seconds. That's 2 happy birthdays, kids. No more skipping. None of this. Soap and suds and get under the nails and all that, because it really does make a big difference in prevention in the first place. That's just a fact. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For more information, where can we go for more on you?
Behaviormatters.ca.
Thank you so much. Behaviormatters.ca.